Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day, night, evening, middle of the night, early morning snack, whatever it might be. Hopefully, everyone's having a good time during this time where, depending where you live, I guess hopefully you're staying safe and following the various precautions, whatever they may be. Yeah, hopefully, everyone's having a good time. In the stream, not too sure exactly how long we'll go for, but the Flash is back this week. And there's also some other stuff which we can't really talk about in too much detail, but I guess that in a couple of days we could, but we could still have a bit of a reference to it if that makes sense. But welcome everyone coming into the stream. As we always usually start off the streams with, feel free to let me know where you're from in this world. Don't think there'd be any Antarcticans. Is that the correct term? People that live in Antarctica, but feel free to let me know where everyone else or where you are from. Sorry. I'm always curious. Grant's from Chicago. Well, actually, my sister really wants to go to Chicago. I wouldn't mind going, but Virginia. Daniel's from Virginia. Alex is from Catonsville. I think that was it. The stream decided to reload just as I was about to say. I think it was Catonsville. Catonsville, yes. Massachusetts. Massachusetts. I know that's like. Is that where like Boston is, or is that like? I think I'm not too sure. Anyway, I can't say that word. I'm from Antarctica, but I'm Argentinian. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Captain Cook's from Brizzy, aka Brisbane. What time? Well, I think you're at the same time as us now. Parker's from Tennessee. Strax is from Hong Kong. Boston. Yeah. Reunion Island, France. It's actually an island. Never heard of it. I'm curious though now. Josh is from Houston. Well, welcome everyone to the stream. As I said it probably a bit too early saying hello to everyone because I said it as soon as I came in. Not everyone's in when I say that. But hopefully everyone's having a good day. Yeah, what day is it? It's Sunday, I guess, if you're in every other country. But in Australia, it's Monday morning. It's 10:30 in the morning right now. So we'll have a chat about the new episode that's coming up this week, or actually, sorry, in 2 days' time. I was actually going to do this stream tomorrow. But I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be able to, so I thought, well, I may as well do it right now when I know I can do it. So that's what we're doing. And also, for those wondering, because some people have asked me on Twitter and stuff, on Tuesday morning American time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, that's when the Stargirl reviews go up. So my review for Stargirl will go up at that time. I think that's like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. my time or something crazy like that. But I'll just obviously schedule upload. But yeah. New York, Idaho, India, New York, floor gang. Does that mean you're sitting on the floor? I'm not too sure what that means. But yeah. So obviously throughout the stream, feel free to not feel free to, but be sure to just not be toxic in the chat. Just be nice and civil, have a nice discussion, and just have a chat throughout the stream. As I said, not too sure how long we'll go for. We'll just have a discussion. Obviously, if you want to get your question 100% answered or statement or comment 100% read out, whatever it might be, feel free to super chat by clicking whatever it is, the Minecraft little dollar emblem thing near the chat box. You can do that to get super chat answered, whatever it is, or you can become a member by clicking the join thing. But yeah, so we'll just have like a general discussion about the episode. So obviously it's not tomorrow the episode, it's the day after. So if you're in America, it's Tuesday evening it comes back, but just reminding everyone it comes back this week. They haven't done a very good job in regards to, I think, reminding people that the show's back, because they've released like the same trailer 3 times with 3 different dates, which is a bit annoying. And I think Supergirl's done it with 4 times or something, because they've changed dates even more, I think. But they haven't done a really good job in regards to reminding people it's back. They posted like a 1-week thing on Instagram and Twitter, but through those social medias, you can easily miss that. They haven't even uploaded a YouTube video with like even just the same trailer like in the past couple of days or something new to sort of remind people. So it's a bit confusing, but hopefully everyone knows that the episode is back, or episodes start again this week. And the coolest thing, I don't know if this is really a cool thing, but I guess it's a bit of a change because people were expecting breaks. There's no breaks until episode 19, and that's when we go on that big break until they can actually get back to filming and back to finishing off the episodes and stuff like that. I'm not too sure what floor gang means. Is that a meme or something? I'm not too sure. Okay, MSH super chatted with 17 Danish Crone. I think that's Danish. I think that's what that currency is. Floor Gang, PewDiePie. Okay, I'm not too sure. Floor Gang. So I might have to explain that because I'm not too sure what it means. I really can't be bothered to research it because it sounds a bit silly. But if anyone wants to let me know what it means, then feel free to. And there was another super chat which I want to quickly get to that someone did at the beginning, so I just don't want to miss it. So give me 2 seconds because for some reason my computer's like, hey, I'll take 2 seconds longer to load than I usually would. Okay, it was MSH again with Danish Crone again who said, when's the new episode? Oh, well, it's in 2 days' time there. So I think it starts in exactly 48 hours, not exactly 40 hours, but around 48 hours from now. Maybe like add 20 minutes to now and then it's 48 hours, I think. I'm not too sure because there's been like all these daylight savings things happening that have sort of like changed up certain time zones and stuff in various countries. So yeah. Joshua with the $5. Thanks for doing streams in this whole pandemic. Appreciate it. That's fine, Joshua. I enjoy doing the streams, having a chat to everyone. Obviously, it's sometimes hard to have a chat with what do you call it? Like just do it through comment sections and stuff like that. So the live streams is the easiest way to do it. So just have like a general Q&A. Pretty much 50 hours. Okay, subtract 40 minutes and it would be 48. Okay, so it's going to start at 10 a.m. my time then. Okay. I was sort of because it's been like all this daylight saving stuff's happening with different countries. So I've been wondering like what time it exactly comes back. Floor Gang came from PewDiePie recently sitting on the floor in his videos. Okay. So I'm guessing it just means you sit on the floor. Well, I guess I'm in chair gang because I'm sitting in a chair. Floor gang means Florida gang. Not too sure. But yeah, just feel free to leave any questions in the comment section throughout the chat. And yeah, we should have a general Q&A. But as I said, if you want your question 100% answered, you can super chat. But I understand during this time, people either aren't working or there's just limited or less spare income, if that makes sense. So I can understand if there's none of that going on. So I'm fine with that. There's no need to get worried about that. Skeleton asks, since you're in Australia, how do you actually watch The Flash? I use this like it's actually a legal thing. You pay for it. I don't think you have to pay for it. I think it's a free thing, but it always bugs out if you don't pay for it. So it's like it's a military streaming service called ustvnow.com, and you can pretty much watch most American channels. Like I pay for it just because I just don't want it to cut out mid-episode because that would be extremely frustrating. But yeah, so just go ustvnow.com and you'll see the website come up. I think you just have to sign up and you can watch. But I think if you want a better viewing experience, you do pay. I don't think it's too expensive. Can't remember. It just goes out automatically every month. Echo Agency with the $10. Thank you very much for that, Echo. Hey, when do you think Zarya is going to get her memories back in Legends? I'm not too sure. I think like they sort of made a mistake by making this like new Zari in Legends. I just don't think it works that well. Like I really, really like the old Zari, but I don't really like this new Zari all that much. Like the actress, but I just don't think the take on this version is that great. I think they tried to be like somewhat relevant, like some social media thing. I just don't think it really works. Hopefully they figure out how to like just do it all and get it back to normal. I'd assume, I don't know, how many episodes are left of Legends? They're only like halfway through their season, I think. They've got like a decent amount left to go. Well, I'd assume by the end of the season, but maybe even before that. I'm not too sure, to be completely honest. But I just want it back to how she was before because I'm not the biggest fan of what they're doing at the moment. However, I haven't watched the most recent episode of Legends, so I don't know if there's any spoilers there. So I'll probably catch up with Legends probably when the new one comes out, so I can just watch 2 episodes in a row. But yeah, I'd have no idea. I just want them to go back to the old Zari. But thank you very much for that, Echo. Where was... what was it? I can't find it because it's... There we go. The AB with the $5. Pewd's desk broke, and so till it comes, he does his videos on the floor. Oh, okay. I thought it would have been the other way. Like his chair would have broken. But then again, it'd be a hard time using your desk if you just stand up, wouldn't you? Just bend over. You get a bad back, but I guess that's what you'll do. Anyway. Okay, so I guess that's what it is. But yeah, thank you very much for the explanation, the AB, because I just don't watch PewDiePie. It's nothing against him. I don't really watch too much YouTube, to be completely honest. Like, I guess that's a bit weird because I'm a YouTuber, but I don't watch much YouTube, if that makes sense. Anyway. Scott Sandler wrote, why can't I read today? Apparently, I don't know my glasses. I can't find my glasses, to be completely honest. I don't know where the hell they are. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. Apparently, Riverdale isn't going to resume production because the newest season has an arrival date to US Netflix May 14th, which means the season ends May 6th. Well, that'll be the case with pretty much all the CW shows that have that Netflix contract. That'd be the same with The Flash. That'd be the same with, I guess, Supergirl and stuff like that. Don't they all have that agreement with Netflix that the seasons go up there like pretty much straight after they end on the CW? I don't know. Maybe it might even just depend on like scheduling for the various actors and stuff like that. I don't know, but I really haven't heard that. But if that's true, then interesting. But funnily enough, I was catching up on like Riverdale is such a stupid show, but it's stupid to the point where it's good, if that makes sense. Like I was watching it, I was catching up on it, and I was like, this literally makes no sense. Like, what the hell's going here? But you want to keep watching because you want to see how silly it can get. Like, there's characters on that show where I'm like, what is even the point of this character being on the show outside of like fandom stuff, like shipping and stuff like that? Like that's like really the only reason a handful of characters exist on that show or are still there. But the main story for this season, at least where I was up to, was just like, okay, this is getting a bit convoluted, but felt like fair enough, I guess. But yeah, if that's true, then interesting. Because Riverdale is always a show that like sort of waits right till the end, then sort of deals with everything right at the end. So I know I have to wait and see how that goes. Ant wrote thoughts on the new upcoming Justice League Dark show. I'm intrigued by it, but it is important to remember. I saw people like sort of spinning it out of proportion on Twitter when they were sort of coming up with all these fan casts for like the Justice League Dark and taking the exact same team from the comics and putting them in like a live action thing. And it's important to remember that in the statement, they don't say it's a Justice League Dark show. They don't say it's a Justice League Dark show. They say it's a show using characters or based off characters within Justice League Dark. So they could literally just make a Zatanna and Deadman show, but you can't call it Justice League Dark. So I don't know if they'd personally, I don't know if they'd actually be able to call the show Justice League Dark because there's such like big issues around using the term Justice League outside of certain properties. So it wouldn't surprise me if they call it like Dark Justice or something like that. Like that sounds like a good term to swap with, if that makes sense. So just call it Dark Justice, especially if they can't use like some of the mainstays, because who knows if they'll use Swamp Thing, who knows if they'll use certain characters that you would 100% or immediately associate with Justice League Dark. So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but I don't think it's actually just going to be called Justice League Dark and be a straight up adaptation. I think they're just going to use characters from it and they have some creative freedom with it. So yeah, but I'm excited for it regardless because it should have a big budget and it could look interesting. Like the shows aren't very profitable. Like nothing on DC Universe is profitable, not even Titans. But they have, well, Titans doesn't really use its budget that well. It still looks like a low budget show. But like Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing look really good. Unfortunately, their budgets are so high to the point where would they actually even make any money off it? And the answer is, well, no. Saim, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hopefully. If I'm not, let me know. Do you think we'll get a villain tease for next season? If not, who do you think will be the villain? I wouldn't be surprised if this season straight up just set up. I wouldn't be surprised, if this season just straight up set up the villain for next season. And because they have this, this break, they can rewrite the last episodes because what's, I guess, pretty much going to happen, no matter what, is that when they get back to film season 6, whenever that is, they'll just move straight into season 7 afterwards, whether they go back to film in late July or June or July, August, September, whenever it is. Once they finish these remaining season 6 episodes, they'll just go straight into season 7. So they could maybe rewrite the last episode or two to make it that the villain maybe appears in season 6 or just straight up set up. So, and even maybe even show the person, like actually show the villain. So then they can just go straight into filming season 7 where that villain might appear and maybe be that. I'd assume they'd do the same format they did this season with the Flash, where they have the first half is its own story and its own villain, and the second half has its own villain as well. So if they do set up a villain for the next season, I wouldn't be expecting some huge one. I'd be expecting like a Bloodwork level early season villain. So don't expect, I don't know, whoever you might want it to be showing up if they're like a big villain, if that makes sense. Batwoman is HBO Max headed. I think Katie Keene is too, and Nancy Drew will be at CBS All Access. Things are a little unclear whether the CW shows that still go to Netflix will be sharing with HBO Max. From what I know, it's everything that started this season. So Batwoman, Katie Keene, whatever the other shows are that started this season, HBO Max shows. So that'd be a bit. HBO Max is meant to launch in like within a month, like in the next month or so. So they'd be a bit annoyed that they won't be getting some full seasons. So they won't be getting the full season of Batwoman. I think they get the full season of Katie Keene, I think. But anything that was attached to Netflix before, I think still goes to Netflix. I think they're on Netflix until their shows end. But I think once they end, so say Arrow would appear on Netflix, but then maybe like next year HBO Max would get the rights to just put the entire series of Arrow on their streaming service. I think that's what would happen, I think. But I think they have to actually wait a period of time. So don't expect Flash season 6 to be on HBO Max. It'll still be on Netflix, and same with all the other shows that were already around before this season. Do you know if Godspeed isn't... Oh, sorry. I can't even speak today. Do you know if Godspeed isn't just in episode 18 and episode 19 and so on too? I think it's just episode 18 from what we know. Personally, I just think it's flashbacks. So I think it's flashbacks to the earlier in the timeline in Earth Prime. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be any sort of setup for the most part, but you never know. Who knows? Why don't you use Twitch instead of YouTube live stream? Because it's just handling two different things. I don't know, just a bit. Yeah, it's just a bit like if it's just a chat like this, I'd rather just use YouTube. It's just a much easier way to go about it personally. If I was doing like gaming or something, then of course I'd go over to Twitch. Have you rewatched any of the early seasons during quarantine? I started rewatching Flash last Wednesday, and I'm already on season 2, episode 19. I wasn't really. I was planning on rewatching season 2 of the Flash. That was one thing I wanted to watch, but I think I might leave that. Actually, this brings up something that I was going to do. Some of you might even remember this. I don't know if you would, because it was in, I think, another live stream. Actually, multiple live streams. Like it might have been 2 years ago, but I think it was like a year ago, roughly. But I brought up this notion of during the break doing like classic reviews, if that makes sense. So we would go back and not review the entire, like each episode. So start at episode 1, season 1, and then go episode 2, episode 3, all the way up to 22 or 23 for each season. But take like the best of from each season. So it could be like 4 to 6 episodes from each season and review them as if they were live. So it's almost like it's almost like going through a time machine. And doing like my type of reviews and everything like that. Would you guys still want to see that? Because I brought that up. Yeah, as I said, I think it was like a year or two ago. I think it was about a year and a half ago, roughly. And people were sort of like, yeah, we're into that. But then when the break happened, it just never came about. And then like I went to like Comic-Con and everything like that, and just became a bit of an ass to deal with. And there wasn't really there was like time to do it, but not the way in which I wanted to do it. But if I have time to plan it, where I can maybe get them all done, not all done, but some of them done in advance and everything like that, I think it'd be interesting. So you can do the pilot, then you can do like, I'm trying to remember like the first episode, Captain Cold's there, then like the mid-season finale, like the man in the yellow suit. And then you can do like the Out of Time episode when Barry runs through time for the first time, the first Grodd episode, and then like the finale or something like that. And those could be like the 4 to 6 episodes in that season. And then you go into season 2 and you can do like season 2, episode 2, when like Jay Garrick's there for the first time in his suit. You can do like Enter Zoom again, go like the Earth 2 episodes and stuff like that. Various things like that, and go all the way. I don't know if I'd do season 5 just because that's still recent, and maybe season 4. It just depends, I guess, what people want. And I'd let people vote for the episodes for the next season. So I think I think that's a decent idea. Unfortunately, I think someone was telling me that someone's come up with that. Not come up, but use that idea already. I don't know if they copied me or not, because I did talk about it like a year and a half ago. But I think it'd be interesting for a decent amount of the episodes. But as I said, I wouldn't want to do every single episode, because there's some episodes which are just filler and it's not really worth talking about, in regards whether it's season 1 or season 4. So I think it'd be a decent series to do, but I'd leave it till the break, especially if we get when does the Flash end? I think May 12th is when episode 19 is. Like, imagine if we don't get the episodes until August. We got half of May, June, July, like 2.5 months, arguably going up to 3 months without anything new. So I wouldn't mind doing that to sort of fill in some space. But yeah, that's for then. But as long as people would be into it, that'd be very cool, if that makes sense. Professor Zoom wrote, to be honest, DeVoe might still be alive. He could be alive. We don't know. I wouldn't mind, like, if it was Neil Sandilands playing him, obviously. Yeah. So I'm just going through the chat. I just scrolled up a bit, so I'm scrolling back down to present day, if that makes sense. Canada Grass, speaking of Comic-Con, are you relieved they finally have taken the drama of will it / won't it out? Personally, I respect that they didn't try to hold out hope for rescheduling it later. Well, I pretty much knew it was gone. It was just a matter of when. It was just more like, the more annoying thing for me is that I pretty much paid for everything already. Like, I paid for the accommodation and flight, so I got to try and get the money back for that. That's the most thing that's frustrating. Like, I don't mind waiting until next year to go again. I was looking forward to going overseas again, but it's not like, what do you call it? Like, Comic-Con is the reason I wouldn't go. Like, international travel was barred anyway, so I probably wouldn't have been able to get in anyway if they, even if they did it. So, yeah, I guess it's just good that they finally confirmed it, if that makes sense. Desi O'Connell with the $2. Why doesn't Sarah know Z? Pre-crisis info, Sarah knows. I don't know. The whole crisis thing is a bit iffy. They sort of haven't handled, like, different shows have handled it differently. There hasn't been a consistent handling of what certain people do and don't know in regards to crisis. So they should have handled that better. Even like with the whole, like, even where, like, Supergirl had the doppelganger and then Batwoman had the doppelganger, but on Supergirl, the doppelganger didn't feel the effects like the Batwoman one did. So there's been inconsistencies there. I wish they had a discussion about it, but I guess maybe time was an issue and they're writing scripts at different times. So maybe that was the issue there. I wish they'd handled the pre-crisis, or post-crisis stuff better, but I don't know. You can't win everything, I guess. But I guess when there's, like, 5 shows, it can be hard to do that. So, yeah. They could have done a better job, but they didn't, unfortunately. So I guess we can't linger on it too long. But thank you very much for that, Desi. Flash DC TV. Do you think Flash will die at the end of his show? I prefer not. I don't like it when they think, oh, the show ends because the hero died. Like, I didn't like the fact that Oliver Queen had to die for the show to end. Like, when I think Mark Guggenheim was saying in an interview that was the plan from the beginning, I was like, God, it's lazy. It's really lazy. Like, it's a lazy way to write, to say, oh, the hero dies, and that's why the show can't go on anymore. It's like, well, couldn't you write it better? Couldn't you write it that Oliver goes and lives his life still as the Green Arrow, but just that we don't follow it? You don't have to keep following it. So I don't really like when they say, oh, the hero has to die for something to end. So I prefer if they didn't do that with the Flash. They already did it with Oliver. I don't think it was very I like the way that Crisis does it. Not necessarily. I like the storyline with the whole Crisis thing and Oliver becomes Spectre and everything. And technically, Oliver is still technically alive out there as Spectre. He's just not there as Oliver Queen. But I prefer they would have done it in a more just a better way. I don't like that they just came to the conclusion, oh, Oliver has to die, and then they just went along with that. So hopefully they don't do that. They just don't do that with Barry. Just end the show with Barry being the Flash or something along those lines. Even though they just do a flash forward, like you see in like Gotham or something, even like Smallville, just flash forward to like 10 years in the future. Barry's like a fully fledged, like proper Flash and everything like that. But then there's like other people around him helping him out. Personally, I think that's the best way to do it. Or even fast forward 20 years into the future and you see Barry with his kids, and that's like the finale. You get to see Don and Dawn Allen and stuff like that. And yeah, you might even get to see like a Bart Allen. They might do like a Flash family thing where they go, Barry created the speed, like Barry was the birth of the Speed Force and created his legacy. And then you jump through all these different years and all these different centuries where you see and all the different Earths where you get to see all the different speedsters and branches of the Flash family, whether they're directly from Barry or they're from other people in the multiverse as well. Personally, I think that's the best way to finish the Flash. You just show the Flash legacy than rather than just having Barry die. Keep Barry alive and then show his legacy. That's the best way to finish it. I know there's the people that want the whole Barry becomes the lightning bolt, but to me that's lame. Like, wow, he becomes a lightning bolt. Cool. I'd rather see multiple speedsters on other Earths and showing Barry's legacy than Barry become a freaking bolt of lightning. That's just me personally. Echo Agency with the $14.99 or 15. Thank you very much for that. What's your favorite Erebus show? Mine's Smallville. I did love Smallville. And it's between Arrow and Flash. I'd probably say Arrow, but Arrow started off and it's just like, it was there for 2 seasons before any other show came in. I'd say Arrow, but Flash is a close second. Like, they really do fight hand in hand. Yeah, I'd say Arrow, but who knows? Arrow's had 8 seasons. Flash is only on 6. So maybe by the end of it, Flash goes, hey, I poked my head out. I'm the winner. Sucked in Arrow. So maybe that might happen, but who knows? But I do love Smallville, but I like how everything's connected at the moment in this whole universe. So, yeah, I'd say Arrow, but Flash is close. But thank you very much for that, Echo. Sorry, Mauricio. I'll go to the other thing. I got the other. Sometimes it just the chat moves along, and like they've got to fix this up on the stream. I think it's really good, but also pretty average at the same time because it just like skips the chat along. It doesn't really refresh that well. I do have one here. Where was that? I'll answer this one quickly. UJ with the $2. When do you think Barry will find out about Iris? Either this week's episode or next week. I think it seems like that's the way they're going. I don't think that, and even like Eric Wallace, the showrunner, said we're not going to linger on this too much. Like when when Barry gets a hint at it, he's not going to be like there for 5 episodes. It's going to develop very quickly once Barry finds out about it. So, or gets a hint at it, might I say, especially when you got Joe there as well, which the promo images do suggest. So I'd say it's probably like the episode in a couple of days' time, or next week's episode, or like a mixture, if that makes sense. So maybe he's like 50% of the way by the end of this week's episode, but then next week's episode, the full-on diss track comes out. I'd say that's when it's probably going to happen, but I don't think they'll linger on it too much longer than that. Let me get that. Come on, there we go. What was it? Oh, sorry, everyone that's super chat and I didn't see them. It's really annoying they don't. Anyway, I'm sort of annoyed at StreamYard for skipping that. Mauricio with the $2. Thank you very much for that. Use the end of 519 to have Kate leave for a few episodes. I think she's meant to leave at like 17 or 18. I think that's when she leaves. I think that's when. I think someone. I don't know if Danielle Panabaker said it, but I saw people saying on Twitter that someone. It might have been the actress who plays Camilla. Said that Danielle, like 18, was her last. I think 18 was her last. I'm not too sure though. Don't quote me on that because I'm really going off what people are saying on Twitter, and obviously that's not the most reliable source. But I think I saw people saying that's when she left. So they're obviously going to plan for her. But I think we're talking about this like 2 live streams ago. Because of this break, by the time they get back to filming, Danielle Panabaker will be like, okay, well, I'm fine to go back. She'll be fine in like a month and a half to go back to film. And they probably won't go back to film for another 2 months at the least, at the soonest, might I say. So she'll be fine to go back to film. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if maybe they write her into those last 2 episodes because she's available. And it might help them out in regard, because maybe if like if they didn't get delayed, it might have been a bit weird, especially if it wasn't a good enough reason was given as to why she was gone for so many episodes. So she might appear in those last 2 episodes. Who knows? They might rewrite it. But I think it's episode 18, but I'm not too sure. The Big Bang Theory in brackets Sheldor with the $2. I hope that Flash gets more epic stories. I love it. I'm really liking this season's story. I know people aren't enjoying it. I know that there's like, I guess it's, I don't, maybe people don't like the fact that like Iris is, I guess, like a focal point of it, but she's been like a focal point of like other stories. Like people love the Saboteur story. I don't really like it that much, but people love it, and she's like the main point of it. Like she's literally the focal point of it. So I think once it all comes to a head, which it should be in like episodes 17, 18, or at least 17, everything should come to a head. Hopefully people start to catch onto it more and realize why they spend that time earlier on in the season. But I don't think it's dragging. Like she's only been there for like 4 episodes, and she's only been a focus of like 1, maybe 2 if you want to stretch it. So I don't think it's dragging too much. Like other things have dragged for much longer than what's going on with Iris in the mirror world. So yeah. Scarlet Lightning with the 86, with the $5. Do you think the Speed Force Barry creates will turn out to be the original Speed Force since it exists outside of time? I'm not too sure. I'm intrigued to see how they go about creating it, whether it is this like weird artificial thing or it becomes this like actual natural thing. I don't know how they're going to do it exactly. Because I would prefer it if there was actually like an episode or 2 dedicated to it. Instead of it being like a minor storyline, because Barry fixing or actually let me rephrase that, creating a completely new Speed Force, it should be a main storyline. So hopefully it's not just this thing that's like done in the background, 5 minutes each episode. Hopefully there's an episode where it's a complete focus, which could be episode 17. It's called Liberation, and it could be like where Mirror Master gets out, but that could be like half of the story, and then the other half of the story, which could be the main thing, and but it's just not a reason enough to give it a title, if that makes sense, or maybe because it would have spoiled the episode. But they have Barry actually doing the whole Speed Force thing. They have to give it some proper focus, because it'd feel really, really, really weird if they have this arc where Barry's creating the Speed Force and it's like a minor arc, and you have like other weird arcs that are obviously much less interesting, taking precedence and more screen time. So yeah, hopefully they don't skip over it too much and they give it the time it needs, which I think they will. I don't think they'll just dog it like that and just skip over it, but I'm just hoping that they don't skip over it. The Big Bang Theory Sheldor with the $5. What shows do you think will replace Flash, Superman, and Lois, or more mystery-oriented shows? I really hope there are more shows like that. Well, the thing with the Flash is people keep saying, oh, season 7 is going to be the last, but it's not like this is like Arrow or Supergirl or Black Lightning or Legends. Flash is the #1 show on the CW by a fair margin. They don't have any plans to wanting to end this show anytime soon. So as long as Grant's on board to keep going with it, they'll keep doing it. There's more stuff they can do from the comics. Like Smallville got to 10, and they weren't even using much. Like he wasn't even Superman. It was his road to being Superman. Like he's already the Flash in the show, so they can do all this comic booky stuff if they want. The big thing is they have to keep this format from this season to make it go that long. They can't go back to this thing where even last season where you have one villain. I know Cicada was technically 2 people, but it was the same sort of thing. You can't have that going the entire season anymore. It just draws out too much. Like that's drawing out something. So they need to keep this format. We have a villain in the first half, a villain in the second half. And personally, I think they could match Smallville. I always said Flash would match Arrow. So Arrow got to season 8. And I don't know, Arrow only got half a season, but I always just pretend like Arrow got a full season. So I think Flash would always get to a full season 8. And they'd get 22 episodes or whatever it is in season 8. But I personally think that they would finish at 8. But because it's the #1 show, they could keep going as long as Grant was on board. Grant Gustin, who of course plays Barry, he's the only one they need to keep. I know there's always going to be a debate. Well, Iris is even, and Cisco and all these guys. Grant's the only one that matters. Really, when it comes down to it, they can write out Iris, they can write out anyone else in the show, but they need Grant to stay there. Obviously, you could do the whole thing in the comics where Wally takes over and another Flash takes over, but I don't think that works. I don't think in a TV sense that would work too well. So yeah, they could go on as long as they want, but it's just whether Grant's on board, because I think people would still watch because it's just a cool show to watch. So yeah, but in regards to shows that would replace it, I don't know, like Superman and Lois, I think is going to be a show that's probably going to slot into number 2 for the CW in regards to people watching it. But I don't think it would take over Flash in regards to consistent. Like its debut, obviously, or its premiere, might I say, should have more. Even if not like the opening several episodes, should have more viewership than the Flash. You would hope so because it's a Superman show. But I think once it gets down to it, Flash will probably maybe take over as the number 1 show again in regards to consistent viewership throughout the entire season. So I don't know if that'd take over, but I can't think of any shows that would just come in and, like, if the Flash did end, that would take it over or replace it. Because you got to remember, like, HBO Max is there and they're like doing a lot of shows now. They're announcing shows, so who knows what will happen on that platform and what shows the CW would get. So, but then again, you could get a lot of like dual broadcast things like they're doing with Stargirl. So who knows what they would do? Like, it's a bit of like an iffy territory, sort of in regards to like predicting where the CW or the Arrowverse will go in the future. So I'm just scrolling through the chat. That's why I'm being silent. Got like a throg in my throat. Jesus Christ, it's like an itch that I can't get out. Gabrielle Napier with the $2. What season do you think the Flash will end? Oh, well, there we go. Like as I said, I personally think it'll probably go up to 8 or match Arrow. Jeez, I just need to get that cough out. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just kept on going like up to like a season 10. But it just really matters if Grant Gustin wants to keep going, because as I said, he's the only one that really matters for the show in regards to keeping it alive. Kevin Campbell wrote, I think Stargirl's replacing the Flash. Stargirl is taking over the Flash's time slot on the CW. There's still like talk whether like Stargirl even season 2 appears on CW. Like apparently they were going to announce that Stargirl season 2 was confirmed, because it hasn't been confirmed yet. But then the virus thing sort of stopped them sort of wanting to announce stuff. So yeah, I don't know, because they got like a weird, like the whole production schedule is different than what the other CW shows do. So I don't think it would appear or premiere the same time every year. So I don't know what's going to be the go with Stargirl going forward, like consistently through each season. Do you think Barry will want a divorce from Iris? I saw that thing where like they're potentially getting divorced or something like that. I don't know if I really care about that. I don't really want relationship drama anymore. Like, they're married, just move on, just be a married couple. I don't want this drama, to be completely honest. Tom wrote, do you think episode 18 will end on a big cliffhanger? I think episode 17 might. I don't know if 18 will. 18 feels like it's almost like 18, funnily enough, even though it's got Godspeed in it and Pied Piper, that looks like it could be potentially the filler episode heading into like the end of the season. But I don't know. But then again, because it's filler, that might mean it has the cliffhanger, because they have like a big thing to end off the filler episode. So maybe. I don't know what it would be though. So I'm just going through the chat again. Whenever I go silent, it just means I'm scrolling through the chat. How do I join your channel? As in like the little thing, the little become a member thing. If it's not on this page, then I think you have to go to my actual channel. So like just type in like youtube.com/Pagey and there should be like a join feature. However, some countries don't have it yet. So some countries don't have the ability to join a channel yet. I think. I'm not too sure how YouTube's weird in regards to how it does all this stuff. So it might be there, it might not. It depends on I guess your country. The Big Bang Theory Sheldor with $2 again. How excited are you for Stargirl? I am more hyped. So you're more hyped than me? I don't know. I've already watched the first 3 episodes. So my review for the first 3 episodes of Stargirl, not spoilery. Like I talk about the plot points, but they don't spoil the episode. That'll be out not tomorrow, but the next morning. It'll be out Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time in America. that's when my Stargirl review will be out. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm excited for people to watch it. The most annoying thing for me, and I didn't realize until I watched the 3rd episode, that I was like, man, that was so good. And then I thought about it, and I was like, damn it, I'm not going to be able to watch episode 4 until June, because that's when episode 4 will come out. It'll come out like 2nd week of June. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, damn it, that's annoying. That's very annoying. But I'll rewatch the episodes as they are on the CW and like live tweet and stuff like that. But yeah, you should look forward to Stargirl. It's really cool. I'm excited for everyone to watch it. But unfortunately, it's still like a month away. Actually, I think it's exactly a month away. I think it comes out 19th of May. Oh, actually, it comes out 18th of May on DC Universe, 19th of May on CW. But if you're watching on the CW, it's exactly a month away. The Flash, this is Javier with the $5. The Flash being the paragon of love will help with building the Speed Force. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, because it's like built off, like the negative Speed Force is built off the hate and the anger, if you want to call it, of the Reverse Flash. And I guess anyone else that would use the negative Speed Force. So it makes sense that this new Speed Force that Barry's making, which is using information that Nora would have probably gotten off Eobard Thawne, he'd sort of tweak it so it's like the opposite emotion. So you have the negative Speed Force built off hate with this new Speed Force, whether we just call it the Speed Force or the positive Speed Force, is built off love. I think that's actually fitting. I know people might go, oh, that's a bit cringy, but it makes sense. It makes sense personally. I hope they go with that, and I think they will. So I agree with you there, Javier. 100% agree with you. Did I miss a super chat? Who was it? Oh, sorry, Gabrielle. I missed it. Sorry about that. With the $2, what do you think about the Ezra Miller thing? Look, it's not good. It's obviously not good. However, I don't think he'll be recast. The thing I think... Oh, sorry, let me have a drink. My throat is feeling the strain of this stream. God, that could be taken out of context so badly. Why did I say that? Anyway. Jesus Christ. The Ezra Miller thing, not good, obviously, but I think the thing that's sort of like weighing down there is always obviously the fact that he was a controversial Flash. Some people loved him, some people were just like, oh, he's okay, and some people like really didn't like him at all in the role. I think if he was like a well-received character, no one would really be jumping on it too much, to be completely honest. But because he's a controversial Flash and like a person to take on the character, and so many people love Grant Gustin's take, for example, a lot of people are jumping on it, saying he needs to be recast immediately. And obviously, I think he should be punished for what he did, whether it's like some community service, whether it's dealing with, I don't know, whether it's like domestic abuse victims and stuff like that. He should do some community service for what he did, because it's not good, and which is like some sort of like an understanding of why he did, or like why what he did was wrong, if that makes sense. I don't think he should be recast though. I don't, because there's other actors have done like, and this is based off what other actors and stuff have done. There's actors who have killed people. Like, I know, like, ooh, am I going to get demonetized? But there's people who have like straight up like killed people and kept their roles and stuff, or whether it's manslaughter and everything like that. And even if you jump to the Amber Heard situation where she's committed a crime and faces jail time for lying. So personally, I just think it's people jumping on it because he wasn't a really the most amazingly received Flash, or take on a character, and people want so many they wanted him recast before, so they're using this as like an excuse for, this is why he has to be recast immediately. But based off what other people have done, he probably doesn't deserve to be recast, and I don't think he will, to be completely honest. He might, I wouldn't be shocked, but I just don't think he will, if that makes sense. Did I miss? I know I missed a super chat. Okay, there's one there. Okay, there he is. Okay, I knew I saw it. Okay, Thomas with the $2. Did I get that? Just make sure I got everything there, because it's a bit confusing. Okay, there we go. I got it. Don't worry. Thomas with the $2. Will Superman and Lois have a higher budget than the Flash? From what I've heard, everything that's associated with HBO Max has a higher budget. So Batwoman is going to have a higher budget leading into season 2, and I think it might have had a tinier, higher budget for season 1. That's mainly because they had to go film in Chicago for some stuff. And I've heard Superman and Lois has a higher budget because of also that. Like anything that's sort of attached to HBO Max, because they're going to be shows that will be on there as well. And it's like they're streaming home, if that makes sense. They have a higher budget. I don't think it's like astronomical. Like I don't think they're getting like a movie budget per episode, but it's just a higher budget compared to what the other shows are getting. I think Supergirl has a higher budget per episode than Flash. So, well, I think it used to. Not too sure if it does now. But yeah, I'm not too sure how much it is or like how much higher it is, but I've heard it's high because of the HBO Max connection. But thank you very much for that, Thomas. Lara E wrote, do you think that Cecile and baby Jenna go into witness protection and Joe fakes his death? Maybe. I guess it'd be an easy way to get Joe and Cecile off the show. I don't want Joe to go, but then again, he doesn't do too much. It's just more that he has those cool scenes with Barry and I guess maybe one or two other characters. But it'd be an easy way to write them off the show. If Joe became like a target for Black Hole and the only way to protect them was to put them in witness protection and move them to another city. So they could do that if they wanted to get Joe and stuff for the show, and it'd make sense. It wouldn't feel like a weird exit. I guess it would make sense plot-wise. Bryce wrote, Pagey, will they introduce the multiverse again? I think that's inevitable. It just matters when. I don't think it's if. I think it's when. I don't think it'll be too surprising if it's by the end of this season, to be completely honest. What's the deal for Lucifer's contract? I don't watch Lucifer. I just know there's like issues there heading into season 6 or 7 because the actor wants, I think he wants some sort of creative control. I don't think it's money. I think he just wants some sort of creative control over the show. Or maybe he wants a deal to like direct an episode or something. They're not giving it to him. I don't know. Big Bang Theory wrote, Homelander for Reverse Flash. Take my damn money. I think Anthony Starr is the perfect casting for a younger Reverse Flash. If they're going for older, then I think you have to go for someone else. But if they're going for like an origin level Reverse Flash, so it's like when he's like first becomes that Reverse Flash, I think he's perfect for it. But it matters which version of Reverse Flash they want to go for. Captain J10 with the $5. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. If Grant didn't want to do Flash anymore, you think CW would get Wally West or another Speeds to continue the show, or will they just end it? If this was like, if we were talking back in like season 2 or 3, I would say they probably would try and get Wally West, but I just don't know if like Keenan Lonsdale would do the show. I don't know if he'd want to spend 9 months up in Vancouver every year doing the show. It's already like an hour and a half to get him back for one episode where it was like a cool episode. So probably not. Maybe they could do Bart Allen, but then again, would you set it in present day or are you setting it in the future or something like that? So I think if Grant wanted to end it, they just end the show. I think they'd not fight him for it, but I think they would definitely go back and forth and saying like, "Hey, please, we'll give you this much more money and stuff." But I think if he was legitimately like, "No, I'm done spending like all that time. I just want to like just take some time off, take a year or two of acting, and just relax, start a family and stuff like that," then you just end the show. I think, and I think that time will eventually come. It's just that Grant's like, I think Grant's 31 or something, or just turned 30 or something. I'm not sure how old Grant. I think he's 31. So it matters when he wants to start a family. Like he's recently married and stuff like that. So I think eventually that time would come. It just matters when. Scarlet Lightning with the 86, $5 thing. Scarlet Lightning 86 with the $5, not Scarlet Lightning with the 86. I know it has gotten overshadowed because of this global stuff, but how are things going regarding the fires? They're gone. Like they're pretty much gone. Like there's always fires going, but they died down. We were lucky that there was a big surge of rain over like the affected areas or most of the affected areas like a couple months ago. It's just more like it wasn't really like the fires were constantly going because it always happens. It was the fact that they were affecting like all these like wildlife areas. So the repercussions of it are still going to be going on for like a while because they're still dealing with all the injured wildlife and just the people that were affected by the fires as well. Like lost their homes and stuff. So like that stuff's still going to be going on for a while. And I don't know if this pandemic that's going on at the moment would be affecting it too much. But they'd be hoping that next year there isn't too much of a fire season, but who knows? Like that's like I guess like a watch this space situation because it's hard to tell at this moment whether there will be or not. NBA sizzle reels with the $2 on Playbo. So I think he's watching it like he must be like half an hour behind or something, or 20 minutes behind. Death review old episodes will be awesome. Yeah, I think it's a cool series. Especially if I can make it like really subscriber involved, whether it's like maybe for the first episode, if I do the pilot episode, whatever it might be, it's just me doing it. But then if I say, okay, well, next video, we're doing episode 4 of season 1. I have no idea what that actually is, but just picking a random number. Leave your thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below, and I can screenshot and actually show what everyone thinks of the episode and stuff like that, and show like a good amount of what people think. So I think it'd be a good way to like a subscriber influenced or involved series that we can do like 1 or 2 videos a week on it. If depends, like I guess what's happening at the time. So I think it's a good idea, and I want to do it. If I forget to do it, please roast me on Twitter, attack me on Twitter, like use swear words, use really offensive language to remind me to do it. Not now, just in like a month's time if I forget. I allow you to do that. Caleb Nelson with the $1. Thank you very much for that, Caleb. Greatly appreciated. Pagey, do you prefer the Wally West or Barry Allen comic version of The Flash? Why? I know a lot of people prefer Wally. I prefer Barry just because he's just like a normal guy. He's just like a really, really normal guy that gets superpowers. And that's just why I prefer Barry. I think Barry's more just, I think I'd like to use the term relatable is probably the best way to go, because he's just like this normal dude. Like the super, super average dude. He's smart, but outside of that, he's really, really average. And then he becomes like the fastest man alive and arguably one of the most overpowered superheroes ever. And like if you look in the DC universe, a lot of them are powerful in different ways, whether it means they're like the aliens, they're gods, or they were rich, like a Bruce Wayne or something like that. Like they're affluent in some sort of area. And I don't think like Barry's really not in that category. So I like Barry because of that. But I know a lot of people do like Wally West, and I can respect that. What date is the flashback? It's back in 2 days from now. So in 2 days from now, actually, I think in just under 48 hours, actually, I think in like 47 hours and 30 minutes from now, it would have ended, I think, the episode. Do you think Tom Cavanaugh is leaving the show? It's kind of set perfectly if he is. I've seen people saying it maybe, but you can't really tell. Like we all thought Cisco was leaving at the end of the season. The storyline literally set him up leaving, and then next minute he's in the next season. So you never know, especially with Tom Cavanaugh. He's playing all these like individual versions of Harrison Wells. And if they introduce the multiverse again at the end of the season, then they could just introduce another Harrison Wells for another Earth. So you never know. I think he likes working on the show. I've never seen anything from him saying he doesn't like working on the show, like some other actors on the show. So I don't know why he would want to leave, unless the writers wanted him to leave. Like they thought, well, we don't have any space anymore for using all these different versions of Wells, so we're going to have to write you out of the show. So I don't know. Just scrolling through the chat again. Sarah wrote, I'm actually glad. I'm glad people actually ship West Allen. The thing is, I think everyone would be happy with West Allen if the show had done a better job writing them up and setting them up. They made errors throughout certain aspects of the early stages of the show where it just didn't work. Not necessarily it didn't work, but it was like, it just seemed like they were rushing and they're just like, okay, well, here's the relationship that you have to stick with. Even if Barry was with other people, like whether it was Patty or Linda Park or whoever it might be, they always just sort of shoved it down your throat, if that makes sense. They didn't allow it to develop normally. I think the biggest mistake they made with West Allen was making them like adoptive brother and sister, if that makes sense, like how Joe adopts Barry. Biggest mistake. And the reason that they did that, for people that are still confused as to why they did that so they didn't have to develop them getting to know each other. They already knew each other. They grew up each other. They knew everything about each other. So it skips development, but it makes it a bit lazy at the same time as well, because you don't get to see it happen. But then with like, say Barry and Patty, everyone liked Barry and Patty. That's because you get to see them meeting for the first time and get to know each other and everything like that. So that's the difference, like why some people really, really, really like Barry and Patty, but not the whole West Allen thing. I know the whole thing about race is probably going to come up,
but just on a base level, is a good reason why, and why I think maybe that relationship was handled better. I think everything else could have been put to the side, not really worried about too much, or like not criticized too much, if that first little bit, which is a big part of their story, was altered, and they just maybe knew each other from school, knew who each other were, but didn't really talk. And then maybe like later on they bump into each other, and that's when that whole thing starts. I think making them like that they grew up with each other from 8 years old or whatever it was, 10 years old, was the mistake. That was easily the biggest mistake. And I think it's always going to affect it, to be completely honest. It's always the meme that people bring up, that it's like incestual, that relationship. But I don't know. Obviously, we're 6 seasons in, they're not going to change it now unless Earth Prime different. I don't know, maybe they could have done that in Crisis. They never grew up together or something, but yeah. Thank you, Joe Moy, for the 99 cents. Greatly appreciate it. Gary Gamon, the usual suspect. Do you with the $5? Do you think that Flash season 7 could get cancelled because of the virus, or could get delayed for a whole year until 2021? No, because nothing's going to get cancelled unless it was like say what Supergirl's doing, where they're not doing a final episode and stuff like that. They're just sort of mashing what they had for 20 and 19 together. Yeah, it won't get cancelled. It's too much money being lost. Like some shows that were planned might get scrapped because like it had to fit a certain time frame or something like that. And it was like, well, we're not going to meet it, so let's just scrap it completely. But no, like Flash season 7 it'll start filming at the end of this year, and maybe it might not air for like a couple of weeks late. They'll rush getting the episodes done. Like they'll move it like breakneck speed to try and meet their schedule, because they'd be wanting to try and still get 22 episodes out next season, because the Flash makes a lot of money for them, so they wouldn't want to be losing out on too much money. And if they get if they get a green light to go film, they'll jump straight into that. Obviously there's preparation time, but they'll try and film as soon as they can and then get into season 7. But thank you very much for that, Gary. Why is my throat still sore? I have no idea. Gary, once again, with the $2, is Black Lightning going to get delayed until January? Honestly, Gary, I don't think anything's going to get delayed a ridiculous amount unless it's like a film, like because their release schedule, because they have to like shift it. They're the big things that are going to get delayed, is the films. But then some TV series will as well. Like if they can't film during a certain period of the year, like say like if they needed to film during like a cold month of the year or something like that, like they needed to film then maybe that screws them a bit if they can't film at that certain time. Or they need to film when it was really sunny or something like that. They can't film in winter. Then maybe they might have to leave it until a couple of months later when it starts to clear up in regards to weather. But Black Lightning should be fine. Like I think like a lot of stuff films in Atlanta as well. Atlanta would be wanting to get back up and running really quickly, because that's a big part of their economy. Just like how Vancouver and I guess even Toronto, it's like a big part of their economy. They'd want to get it up and running as soon as possible. Like obviously be safe with it, but get it up as soon as possible. Green Arrow and the Canaries is not happening, in my opinion. I'm in the complete opposite thinking, Kevin. I think it's pretty much going to happen because none of the other pilots are able to film. The pilot season would be filming right now, or they would have actually, I think, yeah, they'd be pretty much towards the end of it. So that they can't film. Like you got shows that are already confirmed, like Superman and Lois and like Walker, Texas Ranger and stuff for the CW. But the other shows they had planned can't be done. And I think they had four or five slots that they were able to. I think it was 4 or 3 or 4 slots they were able to fill. So Green Arrow and the Canaries, in my opinion, is a show that's pretty much at the top of the picking now, because they filmed their pilot. They're done. They're sweet. But the other shows haven't. So if they can't get around to filming in time, Green Arrow and the Canaries would just get the green light. It was like, well, you're done. So there you go. You got a show. Congratulations. You just won it by everyone else falling over in the race, to be completely honest. Or everyone had a false start and you were the only one running the race. So I'm in the opposite sort of thinking. Alex Bursell with the $2. Why aren't you reviewing Legend Season 5? It's just not a show that I'm at the moment. How the current format of the show and what it is, I just don't think it's worth reviewing. It's not comic booky. It's just there's not a lot of. I just don't feel the motivation to review Legends. Like I loved reviewing it in season 2 and 3. It just sort of lost me. I even enjoyed like certain early parts of season 4, but if I'm not reviewing something, it's because I just don't feel it's worth reviewing, or there's just like other issues around reviewing it. Like Supergirl this season, I'm not enjoying that much. I wish it was better, but then I haven't watched the last 2 episodes. I'm going to catch up on maybe the last episode. I think I'm 1 episode behind. But yeah, like it's just not worth reviewing. I'm not saying it's not a good show. I'm just saying in regards to how I like to review the shows, it's not worth doing it, if that makes sense. But hopefully, I'd love if it returned to what it was like in season 2 and 3. Do you know when the Arrow season 8 DVD is coming out in the UK? I think they come out in August, or was it September? I think it's August or September. The DVDs and Blu-rays come out. I think that's when it comes out. So will there not be another episode of Supergirl or Batwoman? No, Batwoman's on a week from now, because it's Sunday in America. So it's a week from now Batwoman's back, but Supergirl's not back until the week after. That's when they come back. I don't know. I know why Batwoman, but then again, I guess it's because they're on the same night. But Supergirl got delayed another week because they're losing an episode. They went from 20 down to 19. So yeah, that's why Supergirl's back a week later. I missed a super chat from you, Josh. I will try and find it if I can find it. Oh, that's not it. Is it up here? Oh, is that it? There it is. Josh with the $5. Thank you very much for that, Josh. That would make it easy to do future Iris story, in my opinion, if Joe was off the show first, because it wouldn't feel like they were rewriting their relationship. That's 100% true, Josh. I didn't even really think about it too much in regards to that way. They could do the Iris being from the future storyline if they wanted to do that. If Joe, but like one of the biggest issue I had, and if you watch my videos whenever I really discuss this thing, the biggest issue with it is that the Joe and Iris relationship would be awkward and just sort of almost ruined if they're like when they're interacting. So if Joe's off the show and they do that thing where he does go in witness protection, they could do the Iris from the future storyline. And I guess you could still think, well, theoretically, well, not theoretically, but still realistically, their relationship wouldn't be as authentic, but you wouldn't have to see them interacting to the point where you'd constantly be reminded that maybe it's not as authentic as we once thought. But that would be if they wanted to do the future Iris thing, it's probably best if Joe wasn't on the show if they wanted to do it. So I do agree with you there, Josh. Sammy wrote, Pagey, any advice on where to start in the Flash comics? Personally, my like thought around comics is that there's so many years and years and decades and almost bordering a goddamn century on comics that it's hard to just start from the beginning. And go back to like whenever the Flash debuted, or when Barry Allen debuted, whenever it was. It's hard to do that. What I would suggest is just starting the current run. So that would be Flash Rebirth, which started in 2016 or 2015. Start there. The first thing is like Godspeed and stuff like that. So if you're into Godspeed on the show, you'll enjoy it. Actually, well, that's the thing. Samuel, you got the time. I'd start reading it now, because the first pretty much like 2 or 3 issues, they're pretty much using like the first volumes, but they're using like a lot of like that first year or 2 of the new Flash run in this season of the Flash. But just look up Flash Rebirth like 2015 or 2016, and I'd start reading from there. And that's the best way to start. Like they really catch you up with certain like history from the comics, and the characters are constantly changing as well. So at least you'll be up to date with like whatever that current interpretation of the character is. And I think the current Flash run it's good to read. I think it's not perfect. Like they've had a really good stuff, and they haven't like hit it like out of the park for a home run for a 10 out of 10, but it's been good enough to read. So I'd suggest Flash Rebirth. I might actually look it up. Flash Rebirth 2016. Okay, it started in 2016. So yeah, just start there. I think if you have DC Universe, if you live in America, I think it's like the first couple of volumes would probably be free on there. So you'd be able to read them on there if you want. But yeah, you should be able to find it online in some form, or even go to the shop and buy them. But yeah, it's Flash Rebirth 2016. That's probably the best way to start reading. So I'm just going through the chat again. They just showed flash advertising saying that the show is back on Tuesday during Supergirl. Oh yeah, they're showing rerun. I was going to say Supergirl. I was like, oh, it's probably a rerun. Yeah, I'm just surprised they haven't put anything like on YouTube because they get a lot of views, and then you get all like those like TV promos, DB channels that re-upload the trailers, which were then promoted for more people. So I'm surprised they didn't release another promo, even if it's like 10 seconds with like maybe like 2 new shots of the show saying we're back Tuesday, April 21st. So I'm just scrolling through the chat again. Dan with the $20. Thank you very much for that, Dan. Very generous. I'd like to see Thorne play an anti-hero role for a couple of episodes. He did help Barry save the city in the early days, and Barry doesn't acknowledge it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind it if it was like if we saw Thorne play that role, it was just him. It wasn't like Barry wasn't involved. I personally would like that. I personally wouldn't want to see like say Barry and Reverse Flash teaming up to take someone down, just because I think that'd be a bit weird. I mean, Thorne killed his mum when he was a little kid. I don't think it'd be the best way to go about it, but I wouldn't mind seeing like an episode where it is him being that heroic sort of figure, but he is still a villain in a certain storyline. I think that'd be the best way to go about it. I don't think you'd get a couple of episodes. I think you probably get maybe like 1 episode, but hopefully it's in like the last season. I think that's the season where you do like flat out straight up he's Reverse Flash all the time throughout the season. I think that'd be the coolest way to do it in the last season, and he's like the full-on villain for the season as well. But yeah, I do like he did help Barry out, but I don't know if you could have them teaming up for a couple of episodes. I don't think it would work. I think it'd be a bit weird. But thank you very much for that, Dan. Didn't EW tease the future Iris storyline is going to happen soon? Didn't he mean by EW means Eric Wallace? Didn't Eric Wallace tease that's going to happen this season? Someone asked him. I can't remember what website it was. I think it was either Entertainment Weekly or EW or ET or Entertainment Tonight. It was one of them, like one of those like shipping websites or shipping. The one that they do all the shipping crap. They asked him and he said yes, but then I think they asked him like to give more specific details, and he said I can't give any more details outside of yes, it's going to happen. I don't know if he said it was happening this season though. This was a while ago. Like that was before the season started, so that was a while ago. But I remember he did say that it was going to happen. I just don't know if he said when. So yeah, I might have to look that up again, or maybe you can, Tom. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I can't remember exactly when he said it was going to happen. Thoughts on Apartment 4 getting a spin-off show on HBO Max? Look, I'm fighting for it. Whether it happens or not, that's for us to wait and find out. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. If it doesn't happen, then fair enough. But you could do an Apartment 4 anthology series with all the different people that entered Apartment 4 and everything like that. To me, it's an instant moneymaker, but like sometimes people just don't see the good potential in certain properties. And look, I'd showrun it. I'd write all the episodes if they let me, but I don't know if that'd happen. So I'm going to end the stream in a couple of minutes, guys. I will take a couple more questions. Just looking through the chat. Do you think Cisco's girlfriend will die in this season of The Flash? That was my theory I had, because she hasn't been up to a series regular. But that might just mean that Cisco's leaving with her and there's no need to do that. Maybe she just doesn't die. Maybe Cisco and her just leave the show, but it wouldn't surprise me. Did you see the contest to visit your favorite Erebus set? Feel free to link me on Twitter, Scarlet Lightning. That'd be greatly appreciated. Or link me in some social media so I can click on it. That'd be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Wouldn't mind doing that. I'll do a floss in Starlab so everyone record it. Cullen White's page not show his face anymore. I explained this in I think it was my last stream. I've got a friend living with me at the moment, and just that they're walking behind all the time. Like they walked by like 3 minutes ago. So I just they don't want to be on camera. I respect that. I don't think there's real need for me to be on camera when we're just having a chat. So yeah, I think it should be all good by like May, like end of May. I'll be back on camera, but it's just during this time, some people need a place to live. I'll let them stay at my place. So yeah. Oh, we got a super chat. Let me just Scarlet Lightning. Oh, that was your super chat. Did you see them advertise a contest to win a set visit? I read that chat through that little comment just through the normal chat. No, I have not, but no, I have. Can I speak today? Hello. Can you learn to speak? No, I have not seen that, but if you do want to link me, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could do that, because yeah, as I said, if I win, I will floss on the set of Star Labs. However, if someone else wins, please floss at the Star Labs set. Greatly appreciate it if you could do that. Do you think we'll ever see Bart Allen before the Flash ends? I hope we will. I think they should have just had Bart Allen last season. Like, no, what was the point of Nora? She's not from the comics or anything like that. I know technically there's a Nora who's a daughter of the Flash, but it's daughter of Barry and I think it was Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern, so it's not the same character. And she was introduced after the character was introduced on the Flash, so it's not the same character. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. They should have just used Bart Allen last season. I don't know why they made a character up. Bart Allen would have said the exact same purpose. Make it the grandson of Barry. They could have done that. And then you can also mention who his parents are and stuff like that. I don't know why they just didn't do that, but anyway. Thomas Halbert with the $2. Will Superman get a new suit in Superman and Lois? I'd assume so. I don't know if it'd be in the pilot. Or maybe, like, I don't think he necessarily starts off with it. Maybe he starts off with the suit that we have known, and then maybe it gets destroyed or something like that, or maybe he uses like a different suit, maybe like an older suit that he had, something like that. I think he'll get a new suit, but they might not be introduced maybe until like the end of the pilot or maybe like a couple of episodes in. But yeah, I think he'll get a new one because they got the budget to do it, so why not? You DM'd it to me. Okay, I'll have a look after the stream ends. Do you think the illness will affect the quality of the Superman and Lois pilot, as we'll have less time to film than the usual month? I think it's actually helping it. I know it sounds weird saying that, but apparently they're getting better people for the pilot because the other pilots can't film. I don't know if this is true, but apparently they're able to get some actors that weren't like that Emmanuelle girl who is like in Don't Mess with the Zohan and stuff. From what is being said, she was up for another pilot on, I think it was NBC, and that got canned, or that the filming got canned for that, and they weren't too sure they're going to go with it anymore. So she went for the next thing, like really one of the only pilots that was going, which was Superman and Lois, and she got the role. So maybe it's helping the show. They're getting like, because they still got to cast Maxwell Lord. No, not Maxwell Lord. They still got to cast what's his name? The character that Adrian Pazdar played. I can't remember the character's name now. It's skipping my head. Like the Maxwell Lord type character, and I can't remember what his name was. This is going to do my freaking head in if I can't remember. I'm going to have to look it up. Adrian Pazdar's Supergirl. Morgan Edge. They've got to recast Morgan Edge and the villain for the season, who's like Lex Luthor, apparently. So it'd be interesting to see who they can get there, and they still haven't announced the casting for that. So they might be leaving that till they get close to the day, and they might even cast someone bigger. As I said, I think they've got a bigger budget because of the HBO Max thing. So yeah. I'll answer 2 more questions and I'll end the stream. Do you think another villain from season 1 or season 2 might come back, like Blackout, my favorite villain? I think there's a potential there, just that it might be changed, whether it's like it's a different person, but they use the same name, like we saw with a couple of characters this season already. So yeah, I have to wait and see what they do there. It wouldn't surprise me though. And the last question is, do you think Vi will get his powers back? And I would say no. I think they're probably gone with that story. I think Crisis was probably his last hurrah in regards to all of that. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Went for an hour and 15 minutes. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting an hour at the most. But hopefully everyone enjoyed the stream. If you did super chat, greatly appreciated for supporting the channel during this time. Just thanks to everyone that joined in and joined the conversation in the chat, I guess you could call it. Yeah, Flash is back in 2 days' time. I'll probably have a video tomorrow, I think actually on Superman and Lois, funnily enough, because some new information came out in regards to that. So yeah, I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow. If not, then I guess later on the weekend or something. But yeah, thank you to everyone tuned in. I will catch you on, at least for Flash stuff, on in 2 days' time for my Flash review. Hopefully everyone's going to enjoy the episode. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.